Okay, so today we're going to cover integration by substitution when you have to deal with definite integrals, okay? But just as one last question, some of you will have done this by now, I know, because some of you did it and you're like, huh? Okay? In case you're wondering or you haven't got there yet and you want to know how this is done, I know in this exercise they've been providing a substitution for you, okay? But let's just suppose they don't, because later on you'll have to work it out on your own. It's not that hard. What substitution would you suggest for u? Yeah, that's a good call. Let u equal y plus 1. So, alright, that's fine. Now, so far standard procedure has been, in order to get rid of this dy, right, I'm going to have to differentiate this guy. That'll give me du on dy rather than dx. I've got an x's here, right? So in this case, du on dy, right, what's that equal to? It's just 1. Good. So therefore the relationship here is du equals just dy, because I multiply through, okay? Now, usually at this point this is enough. You can bring this back over, you can make all the substitutions you need, okay? But in this particular example, we're a little short. Because when you start thinking about, okay, I know what the y plus 1 is, I know what the dy is, but then you're stuck with this guy, okay? Now usually where does that come from? Usually where does that term come from? It usually cancels out because it usually appears here or something like that, right? But in this case it didn't work, right? So how do we get rid of the y this time? Because we can't have part y's and part u's. We've got to change the whole question from one into another. So how do I get rid of this y here and out the front? Yeah. Yeah, good. So there's a more fundamental relationship here, right? You come back to the original substitution you made, and it already has a y in it with no actual mucking around, right? So all I need to do is shift that around, and now I can change the whole question. Okay? So this is going to be a u. Sorry, here's my integral.
So you make it into something in terms of u.
Well, I just need to do whatever I can in order to change this from a question I can't really work with to one that I can, right? Now, this is the square root of u, and there's my du on the end. Okay? So now what should I do? Do the thing with the guy and the stuff, you know? I should expand, right? So it might be easier to see the expansion if you recognize that that's just u to the power of a half. Okay, and then you've got all your powers lining up. So this is u to the half minus u to the, u to the 3 on 2, and that's u to the half. Du. Okay, and then it's pretty standard from there. Let's just for the sake of it, raise the power, divide by the power, and raise the power and divide by the power. Possible constant. Ta-da! Okay. So now I just need to finish off and bring it back to the y's. So 2/5, 5 on 2, 2/3, 3 on 2. Okay, now, just before I finally move on to the definite integrals, can I just use this as an opportunity? I've marked about, what have I got? I've marked out half of your bookmarks at this point, okay? And as I've been looking through, and especially with the definite integrals, when you come up with some numerical error at the end, right? A lot of you are like, the number's just wrong. Seems find out why it's wrong, you know? Because it's a pain, you've got to go through, okay? Now I can almost guarantee, like I've picked up maybe 8 or 9 errors, and out of those, almost all of them, except for maybe one exception, they creep in these steps here, okay? There's so many little things that can go wrong. For instance, okay, as you raise your power, okay, maybe if you've got, say, 3 or 4 or 5 terms here, you mix up which power is which, so then when you're adding one, you know, you do it to the wrong power, and one of your powers in this line will be wrong, then when you get to the next one, you evaluate, and it's wrong, okay? Another common error is, when you go from here to here and you're dividing through, you know, you put 5 on 2 out the front instead of 2 on 5, okay? Or you just flat out forget to divide, okay? So these little things you have to be able to look for yourself, right? When you get to the end, you guys will be told by the answers, okay, my value is wrong, okay? But in an exam, you don't get told that it's wrong. You just need to look carefully on your own, okay? So lots of silly errors creep in. Just make sure you dot your I's, cross your T's.